This week, we look at a few of the smartphone games that are making my thumbs ache. We chat to Plastic Wax, the Australian visual effects studio behind some of the best gaming cinematics. And if the real world isn't enough for you, Jonny Robot jumps feet first into the political machine 2016. This is Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this week, pirate group 3DM has made the bold statement that it will not crack any single-player games for an entire year. The social experiment is designed to figure out what impact piracy really has on the PC market, hoping to prove once and for all whether retail gaming sales are actually impacted by available pirated versions. The decision kicked in with the Chinese New Year, so we've got 12 months to wait and see how it all pans out. In other news, Ubisoft revealed some juicy tidbits during its third quarter earnings call. First up, the games we can expect to see from the publisher over the next year or so. The lengthy list includes For Honor, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, Far Cry Primal, South Park The Fractured Butthole, an unannounced IP, and, wait for it, the next instalment of Watch Dogs. One game that did not make the cut, however, Assassin's Creed. The studio has announced that it is stepping back and re-examining the franchise, and there will be no new Assassins vs Templars out this year. This will make 2016 the first year in a long time without a top-tier Assassin's Creed release, and you'll just have to settle for the film instead, which hits cinemas on December 21. Meanwhile, actor Michael Fassbender has gone on the record saying that the movie, which tells an all-new story for the series, has a Matrix feel rather than the fantasy romp that people may have expected. He explains that the idea of DNA memory elevates it to something an audience can actually believe in, and adds that there is very little green screen and computer trickery at play. Instead, you can expect old-school stunts and spectacles, intricate action sequences, and all the stealth play we love from the games. Looking ahead to E3 now, and the PC gaming show will return in 2016, taking advantage of the Monday lunchtime slot left open when EA decided to do its own thing on Sunday afternoon. Organisers explained that they learnt a lot from the 2015 show, which they admit ran quite long at nearly 2.5 hours. According to the team, it was important to have a big variety of participants on stage to convey the spectrum of exciting stuff happening on PC. This year though, things will be slicker, more focused, and with more announcements and exclusive reveals rather than endless guests telling us things we already knew. Moving right along, and Sony's big upcoming zombie experience H1Z1 is now 2 upcoming zombie experiences, as developer Daybreak Games splits the game in half. One half, the open-world persistent multiplayer half, complete with crafting and base building, will now be known as H1Z1 Just Survive. The other half has been named H1Z1 King of the Kill, an arena-style grudge match which started life as a game mode in the original project. Apparently, the gaming public liked the arena shooter more than the developers had expected, to the point where fans tended to only play one or the other. It just made sense to spin it off into its own game with its own development team. And sticking with zombies, if you have a spare $10 million lying around, you can pick up the Spotlight edition of Dying Light the following. You'll get 4 copies of the game, and that's just the start. This is one for the movie fans. You'll get professional acting lessons, stuntman and parkour training, an off-road driving course, and a copy of the script for the Dying Light movie, which you'll need because you're playing a supporting role in the film. If you're serious about your love for Dying Light, it's at least worth a moment of consideration. You can buy Dying Light the following, Spotlight Edition, from Game in the UK. We've got more smartphone reviews coming up a bit later, but one game that you won't be playing on iOS is 2011's indie smash The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. It seems that Apple has refused to let the game onto the App Store, claiming that it depicts violence towards children, making it inappropriate. And speaking of not necessarily appropriate for kids, Five Nights at Freddy's is getting a range of toys. The 3-inch tall figurines are on the way from McFarlane Toys, who is working with series creator Scott Cawthon, and are due out later this year. The initial set contains more than 300 pieces required to build a beautiful show stage inside Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, including Freddy, Bonnie and Chica. Additional sets are also in the works, with McFarlane promising you will eventually be able to build the entire map of the game. The toys are due out in the US in August, with no word yet on international availability. And of course, speaking of Freddy Fazbear, he's back! Again! Five Nights at Freddy's World has been re-released for free after a failed effort earlier this year. Scott Cawthon's habit of making things public earlier than expected backfired this one, with the RPG published full of bugs and other issues nearly a month ahead of schedule. All original purchases have now been refunded, and the new version is out right now for everybody, with a remodeled overworld and many other new features, plus a bunch of updates already in the works. And finally this week, Blizzard is expecting more than just gamers to go and see the Warcraft movie when it launches in June. As a nifty incentive for cinema goers, the publisher is considering offering copies of World of Warcraft for free to people who see the movie. The World of Warcraft Ultimate Movie Edition will include the base game and all current expansions, that's not including Legion, which will be out on or before September 21, that is 3 months after the film first hits the big screen. At this stage, the publisher is seeking feedback on the idea, but we can't see too many people saying no to a free game, plus a month's subscription thrown in as well. For more information on any of these stories, or to keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com. But for now, stick around, we've got plenty more still to come.
We've been in the industry for about 20 years in total. We specialize in CG content for gaming and film and TV. And primarily, we do focus a lot on video games. So we've created launch trailers for the original Borderlands game, created all the cinematic endings for the original BioShock series. We've been involved in Saints Row 3, Saints Row 4, BioShock Infinite. We created the launch campaign for Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen, and many other titles. Just recently, we finished working on Gears of War Remastered. We created a launch trailer for, and we're fundamentally really involved in the gaming industry at its core.
For a time, the humans of Sera knew the illusion of peace. Until Emergence Day.
We house about 55 full-time artists. We're based in Sydney, and we create 95% of our content for the US market. So clients like Warner Brothers, Disney, and so on come to an Australian cinematic house to do a lot of content to compete on the world stage, which is great. A lot of people tend to ask, why would a US company go to an Australian studio all the way around the globe to create content that they can probably just do locally? And our answer is always talent. We have a groundswell of incredible animation talent all the way throughout production in Australia that we're really proud of.
One of the recent projects we've worked on that is really exciting is we've had the opportunity to work on the launch trailers for LEGO Dimensions, which has been really amazing because they mix so many really cool, fun film and game IPs together that you would never get to play with. Like in one shot we'll have Doctor Who, Back to the Future, The Simpsons, Batman, Ghostbusters, Portal. It's just crazy, like to be playing with all these characters. So that's a joy that you just can't get that anywhere else. It's fantastic.
Excavator, Scooby Snacks, Trident, Attitude, Proton Packs, Muscles.
When the team initially started, we were working on content for the ABC network for the Wiggles, High Five, and Bananas and Pajamas. Initially we started creating launch animation content for EverQuest and Ultra Online. And that work was just a bit of a right place, right time opportunity. And certainly it allowed us to, sort of continue to build a lot of momentum and sort of make a name for ourselves within the gaming community. And as a result, we created the launch trailer for Dawn of War 2 in 2008, and it all kind of flurried from there. We didn't specifically target it. Initially we're all passionate gamers, and it's always where our heart has been. But I think that drive and that direction in our heart naturally brought us to sort of that area of the market.
it's almost inevitable that we'll be making content of our own, that we would like to be known as a entertainment provider, be it not just for marketing trailers, but for our own content eventually. So I would say, watch this space, and you might see some of that popping up sooner rather than later.
When we realize technology is in reach, we achieve it. Its possibilities as vast as human imagination. But power like this can be infectious.
The project we're working on, the official title is Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex First Assault Online. It's a 5v5 first-person squad-based shooter, and we're creating a cinematic trailer for it, which is going to be, it's going to blow your socks off. It's going to be amazing, but that's all I can really say.
So we're working on quite a lot of really exciting cinematic content. We're really fortunate to be growing at quite a rapid pace, and we're working on several AAA game cinematic launch trailers for a couple of products. We're tightened under NDA, so we can't mention names outside of Ghost in the Shell, unfortunately. But the cool thing is some of them are in the in-engine, pre-rendered, and also VR space. There's a lot of different mediums that we're currently playing with for a variety of different clients. So as Matt said, watch this space.
To our honorable and faithful leaders, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your kindness, generosity of spirit, and your concern for our future. At first we rejected you, but that was because we did not understand. We didn't realize how much we needed you. We didn't appreciate that your arrival was a precious gift. Your presence has roused us from our complacency. We have awoken from our wasteful sleep and taken responsibility for our future.
Over the summer break, I did what all good gamers do. I spent countless hours playing video games. However, rather than being chained to a PC or a console, I took my gaming with me, trying out all sorts of titles that are available now for iOS. It's become almost a weekly ritual, perusing the App Store to see what's new, fresh and interesting, looking for something a bit different that I can buy for about the cost of a sandwich. I played a lot of games over the last little while, so I can save you the effort of sorting through what's good and what's not, and here are my 3 favourite games that you can play right now on your iPhone. To start things off, a bit of a history lesson. The traditional game of Solitaire proved to be no match for former British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, so one night while the famous insomniac was unable to sleep, he came up with a new game that brought him endless amusement. The game, which uses 2 standard decks and introduces a devilish row of cards, the Devil's Six, is a challenging twist on the single-player game, one which forces players to think several moves ahead, perfectly suiting Churchill's approach. In his life, Churchill reportedly taught just a handful of his closest friends how to play the game, including Belgian ambassador André de Sterck, serving in exile in London during World War II. Many years later, de Sterck passed the game on to one of his closest friends, US ambassador to NATO, Donald Rumsfeld. Yes, that Donald Rumsfeld. And now, many years after that happened, Rumsfeld has shattered the cone of silence that exists around the game, working with a couple of game developers to release Churchill Solitaire. It's for free, it's on the App Store, and it is glorious. Better suited to the bigger screen of the iPad rather than the iPhone, Churchill Solitaire is not a game that is simple to learn, difficult to master. It's difficult to learn, but after working my way through a few deals and with generous use of the hint button, I started figuring it out, and now I play a game or 2 a day, generally losing, but feeling much better for it. The first few deals are free, with many more included at a price. You can also buy extra hints or undos. Apparently Rumsfeld is a fan of the former, but not the latter. And in case you were wondering, Rumsfeld has stated that his share of the proceeds is going directly to charities, with a focus on helping military families. Sometimes, though, I don't want to play cards, but I still want a bit of a challenge, and I found something different to the endless match 3 variations I usually fall back on. Not really sure what I expected from Touchtone. I picked it up on blind faith after I saw one friend recommend it to another friend, and I'm very glad I did. It's a pretty simple concept at its core. Reflect lasers to hit certain points on a grid, but it's wrapped up in a beautifully complex, intriguing storyline that has me properly hooked. All those lasers and grids you're matching up are actually algorithms that a fictional government agency is using to decrypt and unlock private messages between citizens. It's sort of anti-terrorism via crowdsourcing. It's up to you to determine whether the unlocked content is harmful to national security, and if you solve something, say something. The levels get more and more complex as you go on, gaining extra mirrors and beams to represent deeper levels of encryption, and each one has a great trick of seeming to somehow solve itself just as I'm idly shuffling tiles around and about to give up. There are no time limits, no points to score, and no reflexes to test. It's just sliding things around on a screen and making pretty patterns, and maybe saving the world while you're doing it. I love it. And while Churchill Solitaire is only on iOS with an Android version coming soon, and Touchtone is firmly an iOS exclusive, my third new favourite game is actually out for PC as well as smartphones, and it's actually taken quite a bit of effort not to buy another copy just to play it on the biggest screen. High-Rise Heroes is described as a towering word game and mystery story mashup, but don't let the first part of that turn you off. Yes, it's a Boggle-style game where you're given a board full of letters and asked to make words out of them. The longer the word, the higher the score, and there are some fun explosions and score bonuses to trigger along the way. But then things get a little bit different. While making these words, you're also trying to drop certain tiles to the bottom of the board. These tiles represent people, and these people are trapped in a skyscraper after an apparent earthquake. However, it's not actually an earthquake, and the main character has lost his memory, and there's a talking robot, and a test subject chimpanzee, and a love interest, and a little girl with a teddy bear. And each character is a stereotype, but they're quite transparent in that, and the writers have played up each cliche rather than pretending there's something unique. Unlike many games of its type, High-Rise Heroes has both UK and US dictionaries, which means that words are accepted with either ISE or IZE spellings. It might not seem like much, but it's a nice touch to avoid frustration. As a word nerd, it's no surprise that I love this one, and not really a great shock that I struggle pretty hard with the timed number matching levels that pop up occasionally. It's a charming, original take on an often tired gameplay model, and it's kept me coming back anytime I want a bit of a brain teaser. But of course, while these three are my favourites now, there are always newer and greater things being added to the App Store, and I'm always looking for the next big thing. If you've got any smartphone games you think I should play, let me know, and it might just sneak into the next roundup.
You know what's rad? Politics. I know, of course the entitled white boy likes politics, it only ever works in his favour. True, to an extent, but that's not the only reason I think it's dope. Human history is full of bizarre institutional concepts, but none of them can hold a candle to a system that both has the unbound potential to tackle all of the world's problems and improve billions of lives, and still manage to feature some of the most blatant douchebaggery and straight-up villainy that makes mustachioed bastards from silent-era films tip their hats. Seeing as I'm never going to get to play in the kindergarten we call Parliament, I have turned to the magical world of video games to force my lefty socialist agenda on the world. Enter The Political Machine 2016. The aim of the game is simple. Become the President of the United States of America. Hell, if Calvin Coolidge can do it, how hard can it be? First things first, you have to pick a runner. The game features all the usual suspects from both Republican and Democrat parties, like Trump, Clinton, and my boy B. Sands. But the real fun comes from making your own. I tried entering, or you can see before you enter the race, as a Sanders 2.0 if you will, and I tanked really hard. So I thought, screw it, give the people what they want. Lies and reassurances topped off by a patriotic hat. I give you Patriot Prime. As you can see from his sleek frame and respectable facial hair, the game has quite a bit of customization for your bobblehead avatar. But it doesn't stop with the visuals, it gets a little RPG too. You're given points to boost your stats like charisma, intelligence, stamina, and most importantly, money. From there you can invest points to align with your core campaign values as well. Jonny Robot ran on the platform of tax reform, free education, and race and gender equality. And he lost really bad. So Patriot Prime went with a different approach, mainly vague concepts like traditional family values, and not so progressive views like guns for all and intense border control. It tastes like freedom. After selecting if you want the easy 26-week campaign or the Real Talk 52-week campaign, it's time to start alienating the masses. The game works on a pseudo turn-based system, with you having to achieve things every turn, which is limited by stamina and available funds. You can spend this capital on things like hosting rallies, approving adverts, and building campaign headquarters. It seems simple at first, but each action comes with branching choices. Do you want to open a PR-boosting outreach center, or would you rather a place where you can hire thugs to smear your competition? Do you want to give a speech and champion your causes, or lie through your teeth about your opposition? Or do you want to, get grassroots support, or court those delicious super PACs? In the case of Patriot Prime, think the absolute worst, and he was all over it. Whilst you're out there lie-mongering like a boss, special events can randomly pop up, offering opportunities to whoever can get to them first. These can range from sweet bribes to crazy celebrity endorsements, with my favorite being TV spots. No joke. Patriot Prime said, "Kill all the poor people," and that Bernie Sanders started the Korean War on 60 Minutes, and the voters loved it. Granted, they had been bribed, but damn, that's still cold. Needless to say, my star-spangled Patriot bot beat the shit out of both Sanders and Clinton through fierce sheer-mongering and jingoistic rhetoric, scarily paralleling real life. But cranking the difficulty up changes the game substantially. Underneath a light-hearted exterior hides a pretty complex little social sim, where extremism is a surefire way to lose, and tactful moderates have a much better chance. Sorry, one-time President Prime. Recommending The Political Machine 2016 to anybody that has the tiniest bit of interest in US politics is a no-brainer. Easy to pick up and play whilst being humorous, the game straddles a perfect line between being as dumb as hell or as serious as the person wants it to be. Hell, it's also a subtle educational tool. By having this, you get real grounded concepts explained to you and how the bizarre US electoral system works. Now, if you'll excuse me, this left-leaning socialist needs to get back to his game and win New Hampshire.
And that's about it for this edition of Player Attack. Thanks for watching. Next week, we chat to Alienware about their plans for 2016, and Mike digs through his video game shoebox to dust off a copy of Street Fighter 2. In the meantime, you can catch us at playerattack.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And if you've got something you want to say, send us an email, mailbox@playerattack.com, or just hop on our forums. Till next week, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this is Player Attack.